Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as is fit in the Lord. Now this Greek word submit, it means subordinate. It doesn't mean that you submit in any ungodly way. It means subordinate. It means acknowledge that he's the head of the family. It's an attitude. It's an attitude that you carry in front of your children every day, every time. It's an attitude. You should always respect the head of any institution. The head of the family, the head of the marriage, the head of the ministry, the head of the school. You should always respect the person in authority. And know that you're not equal to them. No matter how much they befriend you, you're not equal to them. So, wives, subordinate yourselves. Understand that you are a subordinate, that he has the ultimate authority. To one, okay, to your own husband, that the word own is not there. The scripture actually says, this is very interesting, subordinate yourself to one husband. Now we know there's another scripture that says a man to serve God in the ministry must be a husband of one wife. Well, here we see the same principle. Submit yourselves to one husband. You see the same principle. Submit yourselves to one husband. That means you shouldn't have two husbands at the same time. That means you can't be having an affair when you're married. And it also means that divorce is not acceptable to God. Except in the most extreme circumstances, after which you should not marry again. And I have a whole book on that. Where it's okay to marry again when the Lord releases your soul. The name of the book is Marriage. Well, that usually I said I've never seen it happen in less than 10 years. Not that 10 years is a law, but I never saw it happen in less than 10 years. That the soul tie broke and the Lord said you can get married again. But since I wrote that book, I found out that the reality behind what Paul is saying, that if you divorce your wife, that you make her an adulterer. And of course, it goes for men too. Okay, Paul was zeroing in on the female, but it's for men too. If you divorce your mate and they marry someone else, you make them an adulterer or an adulteress. The reality behind that is this, brother. And the only exception is if you don't have any children, if you never had any children. Okay. Once you have a child, that child is a hybrid. That child is a hybrid soul. Okay. A cross between your soul and your wife's soul. That is your soul and your husband's soul tied in a knot together inside of that child. The souls of the two parents tied in a knot, which knot has become the soul of the child. So there's no way you can break that soul tie as long as the child is alive and the mate is alive. Now, the scripture's not going to say you're an adulterer until the child dies, because we don't. It's a curse to have a child die before the parent. But I'm telling you the truth of the matter. See? That you are married to that mate, you are spiritually married to that mate, so long as your souls are tied. Now, if there have been no children from the marriage, maybe in a few years, in 10 years or so, that soul tie will dissolve, and you can marry someone else because the man and his wife, they're one soul. You see? But once you have a child, and that hybrid soul exists, you are married to that person. Your soul is tied to that other person. So long as both the other person and the child are alive. So the only way to break that soul tie and make yourself eligible to marry again is either through the death of your mate or through the death of the child, which we hope will never happen. Because marriage is not, it is about the body, but it's primarily about the soul. It's about the body and it's about the soul. A man and his wife, they become one flesh. And fornication and adultery affects the soul. What you do with your body, because marriage is sex. But the sex just brings you closer. I mean, it's possible to not have sex in a marriage and to still have your souls merge, because you live together, you're so close together. Your soul becomes one soul. So then you divorce and you start living separately. It takes a long time to dissolve that. Some people, it never gets dissolved. Some people go to their grave mourning over their first love, or the one they were married to. But the issue is this: as long as you have a child, there's no chance of your souls being separated, because they're joined in that third party until either your mate or the child dies. And that is the spiritual reality behind the judgment, or the commandment that divorce is not legal as long as your mate still lives. You make the other person who wants to get married again, you make them an adulterer. You make yourself an adulterer or an adulteress, spiritually speaking. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's the truth of the scripture. These are the last days, brethren. I have to tell you the truth.